Appeals are generally about an assessment decision that a training centre is not happy with. So complaints usually involve a centre where there's been some form of disagreement or an incident. And finally, disputes can arise when there's a difference of opinion between the EQA and the EQA. So training centres and learners can appeal to AOs regarding decisions made surrounding the training, assessment and quality assurance of awarding organisations regulated qualifications, non-regulated provision and endorsed programs. This includes but may not be limited to decisions or judgments regarding the examination result of a learner, a centre marked assessment, an application for reasonable adjustments or special considerations, validity of AO's assessments, application of sanctions including centre withdrawals. So the idea of an appeals policy is to ensure that decisions made by the AO are applied fairly, consistently and based on valid judgments. They'll also need to outline the judgments or decisions made by the AOs which can be appealed, because not all decisions can be appealed. So they also outline the procedures for how an individual or centre can appeal against an applicable decision or judgment, outline the potential outcomes following AO's review of an appeal, satisfy the conditions of recognition by the various qualification regulators. During the external assessment process, the likelihood at some point a centre will lodge an appeal against the decision will normally where action plans or sanctions have been placed. So this should not be automatically seen as a negative and should not jeopardise the centre's current and future assessments. The priority is to already have an appeals process in place to deal with the situation. The procedure should outline a timescale whereby the centre will need to lodge an appeal and a timescale for a response and a conclusion of a decision. So most AOs will offer two-stage appeals procedures. So the first stage must be completed before progression to the second stage. And the two stages are, you've got stage one, which is the appeal. So this is the first stage of the appeal process and will allow for the AO to conduct its own review and of the case. Stage two will be an independent review, and this allows therefore independent assessment of the case. At stage one of the appeal procedure, the AO will ensure that the decision maker is appropriate and competent individual who was not involved in the making of the original decision. So this ensures there's no conflict of interest. At stage two of the appeal will be heard by at least two individuals, and the first will be a member of the AO's Quality Assurance Committee who was not involved in the making of the original decision or the appeal procedure, and a second individual will be independent reviewer who's not an employee or assessor of the AO or otherwise connected to it outside of their role in reviewing their appeal. So at both stages of the appeal procedure, AOs will carefully select its appeal reviewers to ensure that there is no decision regarding an appeal was made by an individual who has a personal interest in its outcome. Complaints can arise at times, for example, if an EQA failed to turn up for an observation, which affect the centre's timescales for completion. There could be a genuine reason on both sides as to what actually happened, and then formal complaints can be lodged. Like appeals, it's imperative to have complaints procedure in place to avoid uncertainty, confusion during the process. EQA should take records of conversations with their centres and maintain professionalism at all times. It goes without saying at some point, EQAs will be challenged by decisions they make. This can include clashes of personalities, mistakes or other reasons outside of your control. So disputes will need to be dealt with carefully so they do not escalate and become too big for you to deal with. And it can be wise to seek advice of another assessor or carefully approach the learner or the EQA to gather all of the facts. Getting angry or stressed can add further fuel to the dispute. It's actually best to take as much time as possible to consider all the different aspects. Learners are entitled to make an appeal against the decision and assessors made if they feel that's justifiable as well. Also, centres are entitled to make an appeal against the decision you have made, but don't take this personally, but remain objective. Another EQA could review the decision to see if they agree with you or the assessor.